Right, so I have returned once again today to actually deliver a stream of Revolutionary Girl Utena. Are we good to go? Are we? I can't tell I'm quiet. We actually are. We're good to go. So we actually have returned to cover some more Revolutionary Girl Utena on this stream. We actually are covering hello, some more of this anime. Just said the exact same thing twice. We're actually covering episodes 10 to 11, possibly 12. I actually get some time, and I actually have figured out my timing correctly. So yeah, I mean, episodes previous to this episode were very kind of deep, I must say. We actually kind of look beyond the, I guess, the surface level of the narrative itself, because it kind of does in theory have a very kind of commentary angle to it as well. The possibility of looking at the shoujo genre in the light that does in theory kind of paint it to be just an escapist kind of idea, nothing more than just that. And the possibility that Utena exists as the kind of like the break in that whole entire idea, the fantasy paired with the reality as well, and a whole lot more biblical referencing as well to go with it. So yeah, I do actually wonder how the whole entire series actually will play out, even more so now because of actually how it is like deconstructing the entire genre. So let's wait and see. So anyway, let's put on Twitter actually gone live. Right. I do believe that actually are good to go. And we're certainly are. So, as I always say, let's get this show on the road. So in 3, 2, 1. It's actually been a thing absolutely now. But yeah, I mean, the show is very infinitely interesting because a lot of the more, I would say, analytical angle this show doesn't very have. It's more interpretation than anything else. It's not like it's blatantly saying something, you get what I mean? It's more in the fact that Ikuhara actually is writing it to actually kind of say that this is the possibility, but it's your own interpretation of the events, essentially. Which is actually what I kind of like in essence, like how it's a view interpretation kind of idea. It's not a kind of like, it's not a show that's actually very cut and dry. It's a show that means different things. It means different things to different people as well. And I actually kind of like that. It's a deep show. If you actually kind of look beyond it just being a kind of like a fantasy kind of like action anime in a way. It's got a lot going on. I actually kind of like it. I like it a lot. It's also a show that I wasn't actually expecting to actually kind of like just be like wow by the end of episode 9. I was like, Jesus Christ, because out of 10 times shows take quite a while to actually kind of get that like stride, if you get what I mean. Like they're kind of like, oh shit, stride. But this show actually kind of did an episode, I would say 3, like how it kind of painted the actual duels, how do you pronounce that word, to actually kind of be pointless and kind of just a means to an end. Actually open up with Seaweed Boy as well. The worst boy. Oh yeah, because Nicholas backstabbed him in the way, didn't he? I remember. There's no such thing as too deep. There's no such thing as too deep, because there's no show that is lit or anything that's actually like the most deepest thing in the universe. To my recollection, there isn't, but it's your own. You draw your own conclusions from the show. And off goes good old seaweed boy. I love the really deep metaphorical conversation they're having lifts in this show though. It's just it's just actually being a part shouldn't cancel, kind of standing there being like, what the fuck are you on about? It does. This show has a lot, and actually that's why I kind of like, because it's not a cut and dry show. It's an interpretation kind of show. It's a show that presents one thing, but it can mean infinite things, if you get what I mean. But it's not like it's like 2 deep 5 me kind of idea either. It's more so that he presents it in such a way that it has more than one meaning. What's up with everyone slapping each other in this show, though? I do actually kind of. Toga's kind of great. He's a walking kind of like, God damn it, dude, calm down. I love him. Let's not forget the entire thing that Nanami has a serious brother complex. Like a serious one. I want a cat. I want a cat. I guess actually it's kind of interesting as well. It's actually how certain things do unravel and actually then kind of change your interpretation of like previous episodes as well. So what this show is constantly does, it unravels things. Also, the show is actually also very deeply personal as well. It's not a. It's not a. I mean, it's not an obvious thing to say, but it's a very deeply personal show to each character, essentially. Man, I wish I was cool enough to actually practice while shirtless. Nanami's an interesting character as well, because it is on a surface level a brother complex, but it's one of those things that how she says it, how every single thing was hers in a way. Every single thing that he gave her was hers. So in essence, her seeing him go to someone else and kind of be like, what's up, how's it going? That kind of idea. She'd be like, what the hell's going on here? Again, it's deeply personal. It's a personal thing to them. So to actually kind of see it to someone else is one of those things of being like, I don't like that. It's, to that end, kind of, it's interesting, because it kind of takes what is otherwise a kind of like, to a degree, kind of cliched idea, to actually then make it into something that actually does infuse like a deeply personal kind of thing to the character, to why it would be kind of going like that. But then, let's not forget, the entire thing actually got birthed also from a fight with a kangaroo. So, let's not forget that part of the whole entire narrative. It took a fight with a kangaroo to realise that. I mean, seriously. What was up with the slapping in the show? Like, bruh. Can we all just, like, we have to, like, make a petition to actually have Anthe protected, because god damn it, why would you hurt her? She's best girl. Why would you hurt Anthe like that? Clearly the entire thing actually was the kangaroo's fault. Let's be real. For going by the entire, like, the fault in the entire thing, it's the kangaroo's fault. Nanami should be pissed at the kangaroo, not at Utena. Let's be real. Bruh, you think? It's like, she does have brother complex. It's like, bruh, you think? It's interesting you do in see to actually have his hair down, like, both literally and figuratively. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh shit. Oh no. That's not good. It does sort of go into, it drifts further from a brother complex into more like kind of owning him in a way. It's kind of like it's scary how much like she says that he is hers and hers alone, and no one can actually come between the two of them. It's kind of scary. Oh. Oh. Nicholas, what you doing? What you doing, bro? It is it's a lot going on in this episode as well, because it kind of does in theory take that whole entire concept of actually kind of looking at the brother complex kind of like trope, and it kind of does in theory drift into this whole entire idea of actually kind of being like, yeah, bro, he's mine. It's kind of scary, like if you kind of see what I mean. It's like no one actually can in theory like touch him or go near him or do anything with him because he's mine and mine alone. It's just like, cool it. You kind of do in theory understand. It kind of it's an interesting idea because again, he was there to comfort her whenever she needed him and everything like that. You understand where it all comes from, but the problem is what it kind of birthed was kind of something kind of scary, and it's actually kind of more and also very interesting. I kind of like the whole entire idea. Again, it's a trope. It's a trope, but it's actually kind of done really well here because it's actually exploring how this character actually kind of did in theory become shaped that whole entire idea. Because again, the episode where it actually kind of in theory like at first explored this whole entire idea was kind of comedic. It was kind of like an episode was like, what the fuck's going on here, mate? What's happening here? And now it's kind of like, oh shit! It's actually just kind of like this is something serious. So I say this shows a lot of things. It's not just one thing. That's what I'm saying. It's like it's a very viewer interpretation kind of show. Well, it's very similar to actually how like Chainsaw Man and Fire Punch work. Like how they've more like it's built on the idea of actually how you view the actual events. And I kind of think that actually is a lot better. Like how you yourself kind of have your own interpretation by the end of it, rather than it blatantly say this A or B, if you get what I mean. Ikuhara is actually saying a lot of things. You can tell, like the episode with Judy's actual kind of like backstory was prime example of the whole entire idea. How he's exploring how possibly the entire thing with the shoujo genre is kind of flawed, and actually now you're looking at the idea of like the brother complex and actually how it to a certain degree quite dangerous. But at the same time, it also kind of says like he literally is her world in a way. Yo, is that God himself? Well, that was very fast. Whoa. Bruh. None of me. Again, it's interesting because nothing she's doing is kind of like it's how she is in a way, if you get what I mean. It's more or less like you understand that she's that way because he is her world. And seeing pets, people come between her and him would actually make her act that way. It's not correct. It's nothing that should in theory be kind of like kind of think beyond being like, none of me, what the hell are you doing? But it's still one of those things. You understand that again, everything that rolls around her literally is him. It's him basically. It does. Once again, the entire like brother complex sometimes doesn't very kind of get trivialized in some ways. It becomes a trope in the ways I said beforehand. It's a trope, but at least here it's given a kind of form that does make a lot of sense, and it kind of does. There's a lot in here that you could in theory like kind of like dissect and actually kind of explore and actually kind of then interpret from it, because it is a very it's very kind of like it's showing the flaws within the entire thing of actually like fixating yourself on one person that in theory is very, very, very important to you, and actually the most important person in the whole entire universe to you. But at the same time, it's kind of like it's dangerous in a way. It becomes dangerously becomes dangerous because you're endangering yourself and other people, and it actually has been shown in how she treats the cat in a way. There's actually and then how she also then treats Utena as well. How she kind of thinks that there is seriously something between her and him, when in theory there isn't. It's just. Because the actual again, the duel itself was pointless. It didn't do anything. What did it do truly? It didn't fix anything. It didn't tell us that this actually in theory meant something. It was just telling us. It's showing how in theory rash and how rash certain things can in theory be when you think about it, especially with decisions, because when someone comes between her and him, she kind of just jumps at something, kind of saying, well, I have to get rid of it in a way, and that leads to that, and it kind of is very interesting. Again, this show is relentlessly kind of cool. It's a cool show. I really do like it because it's doing a lot. It's doing a lot that I like. I like shows that do this because it's again not a cut and dry show. It's a show doing a lot of things that do in theory mean something to the overall kind of like world, kind of showing you once again like things you understand to actually kind of be a part of this actual universe. Tend to actually kind of be things that tend to be kind of part of this universe are seen in other things, but here it's kind of to a degree that it's making you think, is this good? Like in that kind of way, if you know what I mean. Right, I do believe we actually are good to go. Right, so start this thing in 3, 2, 1. So start this thing absolutely now. So yeah, I mean it's a lot. It's a lot of this show. I think with repeat viewings, it kind of does become a lot more clear as well, because again, it's one of those ones that it's not just the one kind of time dealio. This whole entire core's got a whole lot in here. You actually can in theory like dissect for years. But it's one of those things that you actually kind of like what it's doing. It's doing a lot to actually kind of make this world actually a lot more dense and actually kind of a lot more like it's like a exploration deconstruction of the entire genre that Ikuhara actually is writing in a way. So yeah. Again, I have no idea how the show will actually develop and actually how it does in theory actually kind of, and how things that have in theory been established already kind of do in theory play into later into the narrative, but what it's doing very well so far. Especially for a show from the 90s, because again, I don't see it very often done. It's shown, it's a thing that doesn't very kind of get explored sometimes, but it's very rare, and actually is also then very rare and it's done very well. Because it's one of those things that you actually have a kind of need to actually have something that makes it kind of feel as if it actually does in theory feel fleshed out, and not just out of left field, or kind of like it's just like half-baked. Because certainly sometimes shows tend to actually kind of have a half-baked idea and actually don't actually tend to go through with it truly. But at least this show, it's kind of like it's setting the stage for something, but it leads you then to actually have your own interpretation of what is truly actually happening as well. So yeah, I like it a lot. Did they actually hit the tree though? That's the real question. Did they roll so hard actually hit the tree? I actually want some shaved ice right now. Man's just vibing there. The man's just vibing. Well, cover's actually great as well. Toga's like if he came out in 2000s or 2010s or anything like that, everyone would be like, "Come on, dude, it's that's enough, bro." It's kind of great. Like he's like the prince, if you get what I mean, but he's kind of like exaggerated, like to the degree of like no return. That's why I think I like him so much, because he's actually like, again, he kind of feels really out of place because actually how much of a prince he tends to try to be. It does have really goddamn good hair though, I must admit. Man, I wish my hair was that long and actually kind of like free flowing as well. Dear Brando might just be her prince. I love the philosophy elevator. Do they actually have to kind of go in the elevator to actually say something like that every single damn time? It's kind of great if actually is the case. Oh shit, it's Pennywise. I don't like red balloons. I don't like red balloons at all. What to think about is Pennywise. Oh. What's gonna happen? Oh yeah, it's kind of interesting. I actually didn't pick up the whole entire idea how literally she actually is in a bird cage. Like, she actually is kind of like, she's trapped, literally. How in theory, like, the place she actually kind of deems to be the safe place itself is also a literal trapping, in a way. Man, he's already kind of assumed the mantle. Uh-oh. What if? Or what if? Which literally is 99% sure that he actually isn't her prince. It's a false expectations. Uh-oh. That's a 180. That's a 180.5. That was. It's like, by the way, yeah, I was your prince. Oh yeah, by the way, tomorrow we duel. It's like, what? Bruh, give me like 5 seconds. God damn, poor Utena. She's kind of like, what? Man, I wish the world actually had that kind of orange hue to it. Sunset looks kind of nice. It actually has that really, really orange hue. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. Once again, it does in theory kind of paint the idea of the false expectation now of like of Toga's character, like in essence how he's stepping in to be someone else. That's kind of interesting, fascinating. The laugh he actually did in theory give once Anthe said that she actually hates being a bride kind of does in theory tell you a little bit more about, again, everything else around it. Because again, it is this whole entire idea that it is like the Rose Bride itself is like trapping her in a way. Like in essence, the entire thing is like it's caging her. Like how the place she deems to be a safe place itself is kind of like a birdcage, which in certain fields, if you look at certain narratives and stuff like that, it does in theory deem to be an idea of a trap, in essence trapping the character. But even more so here, so it kind of deems like even the place she deems to kind of be the place that she likes to go to is actually not that good of a place in a way. And it kind of does in theory then extend to this whole entire idea that the actual Rose Bride itself is just trapping her completely. But it's trapping everyone in the way as well, because again, it's like they have to kind of like go to this end place, but the end place itself might not even really be that great. Once again, it's the whole entire false expectation. Like Toga himself represents the whole entire idea, but even more so, the actual eventual outcome is kind of like the false expectation. But you actually had a pair of stairs whenever you went up it, this actual music actually started playing in the background. It's very ominous. But yeah, I don't know. I can't. Again, I like shows like this. I like those shows that make you go, Because again, my interpretation could be completely absolute bogus as well. That's the thing. It depends, because I'm just drawing upon things I'm seeing in a way, and in a way I'm guessing like this show does in theory kind of mean a lot of things to different people as well. That's just what I kind of like. It creates discussion. What show should in theory do is kind of create discussion. Once again, actually, it's kind of interesting how it almost this place does seem to represent like the bridge between the mortal world and heaven in a way. How it does in theory have the Tower of Babylon kind of idea to it. Because again, I guess in a way, our boy Seaweed Boy does represent like the kind of like the person who wanted all absolute knowledge and stuff like that. They kind of, I guess, if I remember correctly, like that's also one of the interpretations of the Tower of Babylon story. It's the idea of actually obtaining like the gap between heaven and the mortal realm, but then also like acquiring everything in a way. How in theory he was punished. Very much, I swear, how Babylon itself fell because of that whole entire idea. So even the fights themselves are kind of messy, and that kind of like it's not coordinated in such a way that it kind of feels graceful, and that kind of like it feels like it's just a means to an end. It's even kind of shown through how they fight in a way. Love how he's just sitting up there like, oh shit, now it's my cue. Just comes on down. He's just sitting there waiting for that moment. Oh. The first loss of the entire series. See? That's the problem. When she said when Utena actually says, like, say that you don't like being the Rose Bride, she says it in a way. It's showing that she's doing what she says in a way. She's saying what she's saying. It's not her. If you get what I mean, she knows that she doesn't wants to be a part of the Rose Bride idea. But the thing is that she's saying what she's saying. It's that whole entire idea. If she is trapped in that whole entire thing, she can do what the person wants her to do in a way. That's why when he says, "Say you like being the Rose Bride," she says, "I like being the Rose Bride." That's the thing. It's clever in that way. It's very subtle. It also kind of shows how it's scary, like how much she actually doesn't really just transition over to Toga in a way. It again is kind of like, it's scary in that kind of way. It once again kind of highlights whether or not a lot of it was superficial because of the entire Rose Bride idea. Practically speaking, probably not, but it's one of those things that does in free kind of paint the whole entire idea as well. We'll do episode 12 on Monday and episode 13. Actually, I think I want to finish off the core on Monday because I know if I remember correctly, this is an entire saga. I think because I remember correctly, they had to release the Blu-rays, released them in sagas. I know season. And the first Blu-ray is Saga 1, which is episodes 1 to 13. So we finish off probably Saga 1 on Monday. But yeah, I mean, because actually there's a lot to actually talk about in this episode as well. It's more or less kind of like, yeah, the thing is, it paints its superficiality, is that the word? To the entire thing. It doesn't paint like it, because again, Toga laughing was the kind of like, it's the cue to tell you at that point, yeah, what's going on here isn't kind of true. She's merely kind of following a script in a way, because that she's a part of this whole entire Rose Bride idea, that she actually is kind of like, she's connected to Utena in that way. So once she's severed that connection, she then goes over to Toga, and actually when Toga says, oh, just say you like being the Rose Bride, she says it because that's what she's meant to do. She's meant to say these things because that's her person she's with is saying them as well. Or she's telling her to say those things. Utena's actual mistake was to actually say this in that way. That's the thing. She didn't realize herself that was the mistake she actually didn't remake. That's the thing. But also Toga was actually kind of, he played dirty as well. Let's be real. He played dirty because he did in theory paint the entire like idea that he was her prince. So she couldn't take down her prince, could she? Because he saved her in a way. So him kind of falsely saying, "Oh, yeah, by the way, I'm your prince," was the perfect kind of thing to do because she won't kind of take him down. It's a cheap trick, I must admit, Toga. It's kind of dirty, but it worked in a way because she didn't do it. She didn't defeat him because of that whole entire concept. Like in essence, it was perfectly planned. The whole entire thing beforehand, with Nanami saying that possibly the entire thing was planned, like how she was losing was planned, fed into the entire idea that how he planned to take her down as well. It was boom. It was calculated. It was like, you can't fault the man because he calculated the entire thing. You're like, dude, you're a dick, but a calculated dick nonetheless. Because it was very calculated how he did it. He didn't do it just because, oh, you know what? Oh yeah, by the way, I am your prince, because they didn't free meet. They met in a previous time. We saw it in episode 8, I believe. But he's not her prince, or at least we don't think that he's her prince. But him actually planting a whole entire area because she didn't in theory see or doesn't actually know what he technically looks like. It kind of paints that doubt, because then she'd be like, oh, maybe he actually is my prince, and then yeah, it leads to the whole entire idea. It's a dirty tactic, but it's very well done, utilizing the thing she holds on to against her. So yeah, I mean, god damn it, that was, I can't fault the man. I can fault him. He's a dick, but he did it in a calculated way. You can't say that against him. He's one calculated boy. Good old Dio Brando. He's one calculated boy. But yeah, I mean, it does then also kind of ask the question whether or not everything this whole entire show, this whole entire point, has been because she's kind of said these things in a way. And actually how Anthony's replying to what she's saying. Like how she's basically saying, oh yeah, I don't want to be a part of this because this and that and this and that. But in theory, maybe she's only doing it because, again, she's kind of conditioned too in a way, because she's connected to god damn it, to Utena. That's what I was looking for. So it makes you wonder that whole entire idea, because it is true. Like in essence, maybe like maybe it was to a degree superficial, but then to another degree, like the metaphorical sense of this whole entire anime doesn't free them paint that she actually is indeed trapped. She's trapped by the entire idea of being the Rose Bride. She doesn't free want to get out, but she's actually kind of trapped. So she actually kind of in theory say what she's actually meant to be said. So theoretically speaking, her mistake was oh, is it? I thought episode 13 was the last part of it. Was the last part? I guess we'll watch it. Why not? I guess we'll watch it. I thought episode 13, because I remember, is it episode 13? Is it Amazon? Let's have a look quickly. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Oh no, I'm a dumb boy. I didn't look properly. I thought it was 1 to 13. No, it's 1 to 12. It contains 1 to 12. Sorry about that. I'm a dumb boy. Sorry. That was me being dumb. I actually initially thought episode 13 was the last episode of the arc. But no, you're indeed correct. I was wrong. I will. Don't worry. Let's put on Twitter. Watch episode 12, which also then called the end of the whatever the arc's actually called. I can't. Isn't it? Student Council Rebellion, I think. Amazon. Back to here. Does it not tell me what the damn thing's called? Come on, tell me. Ah, there is Student Council Saga. That's the one. I think it was one thing. I think it was called something. I was a dumb boy and actually didn't realise that actually, yeah, it was, oh, episode 13's a recap. I get you. I get you. Hold on, let me, get through the actual, intro screen. So, anyways, actually starts the thing in 3, 2, 1. So it starts the thing absolutely now. So I was actually going to do episode 12 and 13 and actually finish off the entire arc, but then I realised, oh yeah, we're at the end anyway. So yeah, I mean, it's a telling idea now, because again, as I said beforehand, what Utena's mistake was she actually said, say that you don't like being the Rose Bride. That's why it took a laugh, because Toga realised that she's literally just saying what she's saying. So it's one of those things that she didn't realise it herself. It's one of those things. Utina's not in the wrong. She didn't actually realise it. She understands. She understands herself that she doesn't want to be a part of the Rose Bride idea. But but the entire thing is she's actually trapped in the entire thing. And actually, to that end, she actually can't help but say, "Yeah, bro, I don't like being a part of this." When in theory, like that's what she has to say. She's technically in theory following the script. Also, the second time I actually watched a show or read a manga that actually has an entire idea about the superficiality of like relationships and stuff like that, and events. Second time. First time was Fire Punch. And it's why I actually like this show so much, because it actually does remind me a lot of Fire Punch, but to a different degree. So because I saw in the preview that Utena actually is wearing a normal uniform as well, so it actually doesn't really feel as if she has in free broken, like, it's broken her, in a way. Oh, okay, don't worry, I'll watch it as well. I'll watch episode 13, 14 on Monday. I guess in a way, Wakaba's the only character actually doesn't really have any, like, superficial emotions toward Utena. Like, in essence, she does actually care for her in that way. Well, literally, actually a fight. It's technically, literally a fight, but was it between her and Anthe? Even Choo Choo actually has a little going away satchel as well. My heart. It is very interesting how like it's almost as if like everything around her has in theory been broken because a her supposed prince, let's be real, it's not him. I just don't think it actually is him. Defeated her, and actually then she kind of thought herself to be a prince, when in theory that she's an ordinary girl as well. It kind of is. It's a neat juxtaposition because while one was actually like fancying us, well, in her own words, fancying herself as a prince, when in theory she's an ordinary girl, while the other, in this context, Anthe, was a character who is trapped wanting to actually be an ordinary girl in a way. Interesting. Okawa's actually a character, again, I do believe, like, she's the only one that actually does, in theory, like, hold no... Well, I don't think Anthe does either. But I think, more than anything, because, again, the episode previously does, in theory, kind of cast doubt in your mind. But more so, like, while Okawa's a character actually doesn't really have any superficiality towards her, she actually does, in theory, care for her. But again, it's in a very different kind of way. No idea whether or not it also kind of might, in theory, be interpreting the idea of, like, the idea of masks, in a way, like how Togo actually, like, fancies himself to be a prince, when in theory he technically isn't. He's just playing the part of a prince. His character is so conditioned to be a prince that he actually is a prince in a way. Like, he's deluded himself to actually be a prince. When in theory, much like how Utena actually is, but Utena actually herself is much more a prince than anyone else, is just ordinary in a way. It's kind of oh yeah, Mickey must be kind of pissed off as well. Practically speaking, like, Anthe being with Toga is actually kind of like a twofold kind of like problem, because it's not just Utena, but it's also Mickey as well. Mickey's kind of like, bruh. Oh, the parallels it's drawing right now. The parallels it's drawing right now. Ikuhara, you're spoiling me. Ikuhara, you're spoiling me, my boy. I love it's interesting because the parallels is actually drawing between Utena in that scene and Anthe as well. Actually, is it's spicy. Ikuhara, you cool boy. You very cool boy. Utena. But god damn it, is Tucker actually playing goddamn dirty right now as well, like just pouring salt into the open wounds. Like, bruh. What are you doing, Toga? Nicholas? Don't push away, the only person who actually literally cares for you. The worst thing a person probably could do at this point. Again, it's like, it is to a degree, like, what she's saying that you don't understand is, like, to a degree valid, because the entire, like, thought process behind it is kind of, like, it's very more obtuse. But at the same time, it's one of those things, like, she does genuinely, like, care for Utena, so actually seeing her kind of get pushed away, it's kind of depressing, because she does legitimately actually care for her. But the entire scene was very interesting, because how it actually didn't really play out, how Utena actually was quiet, and actually how Wakaba actually was saying, like, kind of saying, oh, say that you can't do this, say you don't like it, what are you doing being so quiet? Doesn't it mirror something? It mirrors something quite well, actually. Something from the previous episode. I don't know. It might be very interesting. Let's also admit that Toga actually doesn't create a lot of problems when you think about it as well. Like, the boy is a walking problem. Oh, the use of green. The use of green. Oh, Ikahara, you cool boy. He's spoiling me this episode, I must admit. Man, Wakaba's actually great as a character as well. Like, she legitimately actually is probably one of the best characters in this whole entire show. Probably like top 2, maybe top 3 as well. She's so goddamn good. What do be going on here? What do be going on here? Do actually, the show is so goddamn good. I really love it. It's so good. Konnichiwa, Genki desu ka? Do you actually hope they actually have got this on vinyl one day, like the actual OST to Utena? It's got it sound great on vinyl. Yeah, I feel kind of so-so today as well. I must admit, but I hope everything actually is kind of going okay as well. But I do kind of feel a bit so-so. It's been a long week. I need about like I need a light year off at this point when it comes to 2020. It don't feel right when he says it. It don't feel right, bro. Bruh. Currently episode 12. Bruh. It's kind of like the dude knows how to play a scene. That's the problem. Well. You think about it, actually this whole entire dueling system kind of works like fencing. It's waiting for an opening in a way. Man, the production of this show is good as well. I don't know, Anthony. What did she fight on? they are out for blood. These boys, I must admit. Like, goddamn, like something kind of like, bro. I also found that there's actually a visual novel of Utena as well for Sega Saturn that actually had in free English translated. Uh-oh, Nicholas lost. He was like, oh yeah, I've got I've got this like secret power and all that you didn't know about. You won't be able to defeat me. Goes and defeats him. It's like, Toga, you can't just win by style alone. You can't just be swag boy and that's about it. You gotta be smart boy. That's the problem with these boys. They be swag, but they ain't be smart. Yeah. We'll catch up latest episode of Fruits Basket as well at some point, probably tomorrow actually. Just in time for Monday's penultimate episode. And all is well again. Toga's just kind of like, no, in the corner, but boy wasn't smart. He was just like, yeah, I've got style, I've got charisma, I've got this all, I've got it, and I've got a secret power no one knew about. Boom, I'll win. It's like, nah, it doesn't work like that, bro. You can't just kind of be like, yeah, I'll win that on the pretense of just being kind of like, hello, of being kind of like, of being swag alone. It doesn't work that way. Like, that's the problem. Like, in essence, how he didn't realize, like, you can't just win battle and style alone is kind of like, because it's happened beforehand, and we actually haven't finished the first core. This is Shouldn't Cancel Saga actually finished now, because he was a bit too full of himself as well. That's the problem with Toga as well. Toga kind of deluded himself to kind of be like the prince character in a way. They're kind of like the person who comes along and actually sweeps the girl off their feet and actually kind of like takes them away and actually saves them. He believes himself to be like that, and in very technically speaking, he isn't. He's kind of just he's an ordinary boy. He's a boy who's got style. He's got no nips, but he's got style, and that was his detriment in the end. Like, in essence, him deluding himself to kind of be this character was like, and him believing in the power he actually didn't really have was kind of like, that just, it doesn't work like that. It's one of those things, like, you can't just kind of, you can't believe yourself to be like that. That's about it. You actually have to, you got to win by being smart. The problem is he didn't technically win. If we're going by the idea of actually him winning, he didn't win. I love the show to bits as well. It's so good so far. Because relatively speaking, Toga didn't win the entire battle. He won off the pretense of being dirty. He's a dirty boy. He's a very dirty boy. We got to admit it. Like, he a dirty boy. He actually utilized the thing that Utena actually hangs on to actually kind of win the battle. It worked, but it was dirty. Boy be dirty. Yeah, we finished the first arc of the entire series now. We're on to the second. He's a dirty boy. He won because of that. That's the only reason he won. Because if he didn't actually put a doubt in her mind that she kind of say, well, actually, is he my prince? She would have won the battle as well. Because technically speaking, again, if you kind of look at the entire way they battle, it's very kind of like, it's not graceful in that kind of way. It's very kind of like loose. It's very kind of like, it's almost as if they're trying to get it done quickly. It kind of doesn't really then highlight back to this whole entire idea, the possibility of actually how pointless these duels actually are because of that whole entire idea. But anyway, other than that, it's like, it didn't have any grace, and actually she probably could have won it as well. But in theory, she was going to, but he put it down in her mind, and actually then, as we know, then we know what happened afterwards. It's actually quite interesting how he does in theory actually. Yeah, I don't think we actually talk about anything beyond episode 13 anyway, or in the comments anyway, so don't worry about it. Always not, I tend to always keep it to just the actual episodes. Don't worry, it's not a problem. But yeah, it's interesting how it kind of played out, because it was how he is as a character is very kind of like it's just kind of he's a very like calm down dude kind of idea, like how he utilizes people's weaknesses in a way as well. That's the other thing to know. He knows how to use a person, and that's the problem with him as well. He knows what he needs to do. He knows how to play a scene, and in doing so, that's what kind of makes him actually kind of win in the end. It's how he utilizes the scene, and actually how he utilizes what he knows about the character actually kind of to his advantage. What happened with Senoji kind of was a little bit like that, but to a different degree. But it's yeah. Other than that, if we kind of look at everything else as well, there's aurora about the possibility that maybe a lot of it actually was still superficial as well. Like, and actually how in essence it wasn't like how. And I don't think Anthe ever was lying. I don't think Anthe ever told a lie to Utena. But I also kind of ow, hit my foot in the chair. I do kind of believe like the Rose Bride concept itself does kind of like I can swivel around now and actually fall backwards and forwards and actually not fall down. I'm so happy. No, well, back on topic. I don't think she was lying. I don't think for a second that Anthe was lying. But I think the problem was being a part of the Rose Bride scenario itself. It's there's something there that she feels conditioned to actually kind of say what the person she's actually following says in a way. Like, in essence, how in certain scenes when Utena lost, how Toga actually kind of plays that whole entire day saying that, oh, you don't want to find new friends, do you? You actually like being a part of Rose Bride. She's literally saying what he's saying. She's just repeating and actually agreeing with it. She might not agree with him, but she, in her own heart, but she actually has to say because she is his Rose Bride. The same thing kind of applied with Yuta in a way. Yuta's downfall was actually saying, well, as I said during the actual end of like the previous-ish stream, like, her downfall was say that you don't like being a part of like the Rose Bride, because she basically could not say no, because she actually had to say it at that point, because she said to say that, and then she has to just repeat that. But also kind of then liked how during the scene with Wakaba, Utena, Toga, and actually Anthe as well. That entire scene was quite interesting because, again, it plays into this whole entire concept that it's drawing parallels between Utena and Anthe. How Utena, during that entire scene, was silent. She wasn't saying anything. And actually how Wakaba was saying, look, say you don't like this. Just say it. You can't just go on like this. It's drawing the parallel between her and Anthe, because she feels like she's kind of like trapped in that whole entire idea as well, because in essence she's trapped by actually kind of losing. Anthe's trapped because of the actual Rose Bride, and then Yuta's actually trapped by losing. Good night. I actually hope you have a wonderful day ahead. So I do kind of find the whole entire idea interesting, how they did in theory draw parallels between her and Anthe in that scene. But also what's quite interesting as well, actually, how she did in theory just, I don't actually know how you do it, but don't worry about it. It's not a problem. We don't ever go beyond the episodes anyway. So there's no issue. Don't worry about it. Will always kind of just say what's actually in the episode itself only. We don't ever kind of go beyond. There's no issue. Don't worry about it. No need to apologize. No need to apologize either. There's no problems. But yeah, what was interesting as well, actually, how Toga actually didn't really say that Yuta actually was in theory regaining herself, which I think it's 39, isn't it? Utena? I think it's 39 because it's 12, 12, and 13 if I remember correctly. It's 12, 12, 24. It's 39, I think, or 34, one of the two. I can't remember. I'll have to check it afterwards, but I swear it's 39 or 38. I like how it was interesting how he did in Freeze say like how she's regaining herself, which is interesting because practically speaking, her losing did in theory lose. She lost herself. She didn't. She wasn't who she was afterwards, or who she was previous, I should say. Like she more or less was just she was just an ordinary girl at that point because she believed herself to be a prince, and actually then once she actually kind of realized she can't be that prince, she actually then kind of just changed in a way. But it's 39. I thought it was 39. But I thought it was interesting how he didn't really say regain herself because to a degree yes, but also to another degree she was regaining what she actually still holds on to in a way. Like in essence, her being the prince to Anthe allows her to actually kind of keep that idea that she actually has her whole entire life keep on going in a way. So her losing Anthe in a way loses what she actually doesn't fully know. But I like how Wakaba actually didn't fully actually kind of help her, just kind of say, look, don't think that you've lost yourself, just keep on going, regain that whole entire thing. Actually, just this isn't your normal. Your normal is what you know. So regain it, actually kind of like keep that going because it's true. Because her kind of being ordinary isn't her ordinary. She's kind of she relies someone will be on that whole entire ordinary, which actually what makes this whole entire show more interesting because she actually is not the ordinary that we know. She's kind of like her own sense of ordinary. She's her own independence, and actually kind of her losing that changes the entire perception of the whole entire show in a way. So yeah, interesting all round, I must say. I like the show a heck of a lot. The show is really damn good. I love it. It's amazing. So we will start arc 2 probably Monday or Tuesday, hopefully, if all goes well and nothing actually happens in between. So yeah, ご視聴ありがとうございます。僕の動画を面白いと思ったらいいねやチャンネル登録をお願いします。So, I mean, don't worry if you actually just don't worry about anything. There's no issues or anything. Like, I still do want to hear people's interpretations of like things anyway. As I said beforehand, it creates discussions in a way. So if you actually if we have someone who actually has in theory watched the show, it does actually kind of then help us have their perspective on the entire thing. So don't worry about it. There's no issues behind it. So don't ever feel like if you say anything, it doesn't really spoil the events. Don't worry about it. There's literally there's no problems. Anyway, don't worry. There's no issues. I always kind of prefer having someone at least that actually doesn't really has actually watched the show, actually has that extensive knowledge about it, to actually kind of then have a discussion about it because it does kind of lead to actually more understanding the entire thing. That's how I always kind of like understood everything as well. So don't worry. I do appreciate it as well. So don't worry. I don't think I just said makes any sense, but I hope it kind of does because just in case. I say things sometimes it does it through like a tangent and its own tangent. So anyway, she have enjoyed Oh, I see. Yeah, I get what you mean actually. But I mean, the problem is as well like getting problem is as well like just outright saying a spoiler is kind of an issue, but if you actually kind of just say your own perspective of the entire thing, it's like it kind of goes around the entire thing. So actually kind of like saying outright spoilers is kind of like bruh. Oh, thank you so much. So someone in the chat actually helped me with it as well. So I'm actually very much in debt to them as well. So it actually was really helpful. Actually, glad my pronunciation actually is really good as well. But yeah, don't worry, we won't spoil anything. We'll just if we say anything, it's more just around the entire idea. But we'll see what happens in the next arc anyway. But anyway, you actually have enjoyed the whole entire stream I'm doing free, leave a like, because indeed it's only quite a bit. If you have then enjoyed this whole entire stream as a whole on YouTube and doing free, leave a sub, because indeed it's only quite a bit. If you have then enjoyed this whole entire stream as a whole on YouTube and doing free, leave a follow on Twitter, or join Discord as well, because both do quite a lot, and both will then tell you when the streams go live and any other streams I do as well. Until next time with Arc 2 of Revolutionary Girl Utena. See you guys later. Bye for now.